What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Mood616 here, and yes, I am finally back with a new hip-hop video, and yes, this is going to be my top 22 of 2022 favorite albums. So, not a best of list, but a favorite list. That's how I do my list. I don't do it by best of, I do it by favorites, so I think most people that have watched my videos know that. And yeah, so basically, before we get into the top 22 of 2022, I want to show off a few things that I got in the mail after I did my my 2022 yearly CD and vinyl roundup. A bunch of this stuff came in right after I did the video, like almost the next day. And there was actually two items here I forgot to show. I'll show those ones right now, actually, because I had them sitting on the shelf and I completely forgot them. Go figure, they're like the biggest things too. But I did pick up the long box of the Namir Blade album, Metropolis. This is a really cool album. It's very spaced out. It's based on the movie Metropolis. I believe he based the album around the 20 silent film. And also he took inspiration from the anime that came out in the early 2000s, I believe, or something like that. It's very spaced out. Namir Blade's probably not for everybody, but pretty cool release. I'm pretty cool that Mellow Music Group is actually releasing these in long boxes. So this was one of two that I got, but I had this already. I forgot to show it in the last update, so I just thought I'd do that. And also the Stally and Apollo Brown album, which I thought was pretty cool. Blacklight was an interesting album. I didn't spend a lot of time with this year, which I probably should have spent more time with it. I kind of forgot about it. Same with the Namir Blade album too. So that's, you know, kind of why they're not going to be on this list. So, but at first I wasn't the hugest fan of this, and then I really got into it. I thought it was really cool, but yeah. So, long box. I didn't pick up the Joel Ortiz one, Autograph. I kind of forgot to. I liked the album. I listened to it on iTunes, and I thought it was pretty cool, but I got to grab that one before it sells out, because these long boxes are cool. I did get the Hip Hop 50 Volume 1 DJ Premier EP, like the day after I did the video, I think it was. So that's in here. I thought this was really cool. I was really kind of hoping that they were going to drop more of these sooner than later. But maybe they're coming. I'm not sure what the whole release schedule is for these EPs and stuff. But pretty cool stuff, man. Beat Breaks with Nas is just phenomenal. Love that track. It's good stuff. Got the Denzel Curry album, Melt My Eyes, which I was, you know, I hadn't really checked out this guy in full. I checked out some of his stuff before. I wasn't like the hugest fan, and my buddy's like, man, you might want to check this out. It's actually really good. It's kind of up your alley a little bit. There's a couple tracks on here I was, you know, there was whatever, but most of this is really good. It's not what you think it's going to sound like. I was very impressed by the kind of the jazzy boom bap to it and stuff, and he's a dope lyricist, man. I was listening to him, and I was like, shit, this guy can spit, man. He can spit. I got the Run the Jewels remix album, which is, the remix album from Run the Jewels 4. In the mail also. It was decent. I think this is considered 2022. I don't know. I think it might have actually came out in 2000. I don't know. But anyways, I listened to it once or twice already, but you know, I'll have to spend more time with it. But yeah, I mean, I prefer the LP production, but yeah. And then of course we got Droog's latest venture into themed album, which is your old Droog, Yodney Dangerfield. It's fucking such a great title. This is dope though, man. This is really good. Again, very short, 8 tracks. Good stuff though, man. If you're a fan of Droog and you're digging these like these themed out EPs that he's been doing lately, all year, he put out like 5 of them, I think, or something like that. Just crazy, man. Pretty crazy. I'm very interested to see what he's gonna, you know, do. Actually, he's got The Shining one coming out, which is kind of up my alley. The Shining is one of my favorite movies, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, so those are a few things that I picked up or got in the mail after the fact. So I want to talk about how I do. Well, actually, no. First, I want to just give a few rest in pieces, man. Man, last year was an insane year. It was an insane year for deaths. Lots of notable people passed away. Start off with CPO, man. CPO His first album was all produced by MC Ren. Really dope shit, man. Rest in peace to Boss Hogg. Blackistan, man. That one hurt my soul because I was huge. Like, I'm a huge Blackistan fan. I could not believe what I was reading. That one was hurt, man. Rest in peace to Blackistan. Just brutal, man. DJ K-Slay, legend in the game. Yeah, K-Slay, big part of hip-hop, man. He's been around doing his thing for so long. I know, I heard somewhere that there's like Rollin' 200 Deep is coming out soon. I was like, holy shit, that's going to be like a freaking 2.5 hour track, man. So rest in peace to K-Slay, man. Coolio, fucking Coolio, man. I remember first hearing Coolio back in the WC and the Mad Circle days. You know, you don't really think anything of it, and then he left the group and then went solo, and then, you know, Takes a Thief turned out to be fucking classic, man. That shit's amazing. Rest in peace to Coolio, man, and his braids. Gonna miss that shit, man. Rest in peace to Pat Stay, Canadian freestyle battle rapper and stuff. Unfortunately, he was murdered outside of a club. He was stabbed. It was kind of a weird timing of his death, too, because he was just having a beef with the game. And it was like the next week he gets stabbed and people are like, the game put a hit on him and shit. And I'm like, bro, that can't be real. That's not true. It totally wasn't. But Pat Stay, if you know who he is, if you know, you know. Dude is fucking dope. Rest in peace to him. Takeoff from the Migos. I've never really dug into the Migos too much, but his story is very sad. Fuck, man. Like, just people are getting gunned down at rates that is just too sad, man. It's brutal. Rest in peace to Tame One of my all-time favorites. I'm a huge Artifacts fan. I love the Artifacts. His story is just even more sad because of the new album that came out this year, and it was like a week later he passed away. It's just the craziest thing. Rest in peace to fucking Tame One, man. Love him. Rest in peace to Hurricane G. I talked about her earlier after she passed away, talking about how I made this mixtape of all her features and shit, and then like a few months before, and then she passes away. I'm like, this craziest shit ever. And then Granddaddy IU. I know there's lots of other people that passed away and stuff, but these are the notable ones for myself. But Granddaddy IU, classic MC, Cold Chillin' days, man. Shit. Just too many. We're just losing way too many heads this year. Or last year we lost way too many. Man, like, rest in peace, man. I talk about Gangsta Boo, of course, from 3-6 Mafia. Laylaw from NWA days, passed away just recently. And, of course, Dangerous Dame. I'm a huge Dangerous Dame fan. Love me some Dangerous Dame and the whole Dangerous crew. So rest in peace to Dangerous Dame, I believe, who just passed away yesterday or the day before when I'm recording this video. So, yeah, man, good old Dame. What the fuck, bro? I didn't know, but Too Short made a post and he said Dangerous Dame actually wrote Short But Funky for him on the Short Dogs in the House album. And I was like, shit, I didn't fucking know that. So you learn something every day. All right, top 22 time. How I do my lists, it's very simple. I focus on physical albums for one. Well, first off, I do best, or I do favorites, not best. These are my favorites of the year. Secondly, I focus on physical albums. If your album came out physically in the year 2022. So there's a couple albums in here that came out late in 2021 digitally, but their physical copies came out in 2022. So if your album came out in the calendar year 2022, it's eligible. I only show physical albums. No disrespect to streaming and stuff like that. It's just an easier way to break it down because there's so much music out there. I can't listen to everything. So I buy my favorites, and that's how I do it and stuff like that. And also the third thing, simple. The album has to be over 30 minutes because I weed out the EPs that way. I feel like an album, anything that's under 30 is like an EP. So that gets weeded out. All the digital only albums get weeded out. And turns out, you know, they're just my favorites. So very simple. It's just an easy way of breaking it down and having fun with the year and stuff like that. So, but yeah, like I said, there'll be a couple albums in here that definitely were on people's lists last year, which is understandable because they came out late in the year. And but they were digital only. The physicals did come out, which you might already know what I'm talking about because I already showed them in the last update and stuff. So anyways, I digress. I don't know how long that went on for, but yeah, that was like 10-minute intro. All right, I got to bring up my list here. All right, so coming in number 22 is the huge collective, the coalition of, I want to say, well, at first it started out as a big you know, Canadian conglomerate basically, but it's branched out to like, you know, even Japan and stuff like that. And we're talking about Backburner, Contagium. Now, so this crew on this record has about 20 different members, core members. It's like the Canadian version of like the Wu-Tang and, you know, the West Coast version, like Living Legends in the West Coast. You got Backburner in Canada. It's like the same thing. It's this huge collective of of artists and producers, and everybody in this crew has albums and are part of other groups and stuff. So it's really interesting. There's like literally hundreds of albums associated with all the members here. But the album's crazy, man. Like they got, it's rhymes over beats and tons of scratching, and it's just raw hip hop, man. There's nothing gimmicky about it. You're not going to get any R&B singing. There's no like hooks like that. It's mostly just like bars and beats, man. It's crazy. It's a fun listen. All the different MCs have so much different flavor and stuff like that. You can hear like when Wordbird comes in because he's kind of the dork of the crew and stuff, but he's really good. But just lots of different type of levels of MC and really fun stuff on here. I mean, honestly, the whole album is just, it's amazing. And it's amazing how they did this album, 15 tracks on here, but everyone seems to get a lot of time on here, like production all over the place, but it all fits. But the MCs, they have like the same amount of time on the record and stuff. It's really interesting. So Backburner, Canadian crew, Contagium, awesome album. That's their third crew album, which I can't believe that they've put out 3 with that many core members and stuff like that. It's absolutely insane to me. But yeah, it's kind of like, in a sense, it's kind of like Army of the Pharaohs in a sense. Like how many people were core members of Army of the Pharaoh at the height of Army of the Pharaohs and stuff. Kind of the same thing, right? Everyone has their things, but yeah. All right, so coming at number, number 21 is a guy I didn't really know much about, is Matlock, Coffee and Cannabis. I knew some of his work. I know he worked with Mr. Green back in the day and stuff, and I kind of knew him here and there. I didn't really know what to expect. I was at my buddy's shop one day, and he's like, bro, have you heard Matlock's album? And I'm like, no. And he's like, well, I got it here, so I picked it up. He's like, you're really going to like it. It is, man. It's really good. It starts out with a track called Let It All Hang Out, which kind of reminds me of Adore in a sense, the Pete Rock track for Adore. Not the sound of it, just the pace, like just the BPMs is a little bit more up-tempo, but the whole album is kind of like new age, like boom backs, a little bit more laid back and stuff, but it's a really dope vibe throughout the whole album. Really enjoy this. The only track on here I'm not the biggest fan is the last track, The Last White Man on Earth. It's literally called The Last White Man on Earth, which there is a point to that. But I'm not a big fan of the beat, really. But the whole album is dope, man. Really, really good stuff here. You can get this at Black Buffalo Records. It's a Canadian label. They're doing some good stuff. I believe it's CD or vinyl only. So, yeah. So, Matlock, good record. Highly recommend that right there. He is not Canadian, just on a Canadian label. Number 20 here is DITC alumni, one of the greatest, man, in my opinion, Diamond D with The Rear View. It wasn't to my amazement because I heard that Diamond D was going to be rapping a lot more on this record, so I wasn't overly surprised that when he put this out, there was other producers. So he produced, I think, 9 of the 14 tracks on here. There's other producers on here like Knots and a couple other guys and stuff. But yeah, he getting back to the old school days, man, and doing a lot more rapping and stuff like that. I'm not saying he didn't. I think he rapped a few times on his last producer albums and stuff. But good album, man. Good features on here. The song with Poss from De La Soul is fucking awesome. Flying High is just amazing. Super, super dope track. I absolutely love that track. Yeah, man. Like, good vibe overall. Diamond D's still doing it at a high level, beat-wise and rhyme-wise. I really wish that Lord Finesse would come back and do another vocal album. I know he's been producing and doing beats and stuff like that, but I wish he'd come back. Lord Finesse, one of my favorites of all time. It's where Big L got his punchline game from, was Lord Finesse. Actually, Lord Finesse is the one that found Big L. We all know that story. But yeah, so Diamond D, DITC stuff, really, really good stuff. Coming in number 19 was a surprise to me because when I first listened to this, I remember I picked it up. I was out at my cabin. I was listening to it. I was having some beers by the fire. I was like, it's okay. Listened to it a few more times after at the house and shit. I'm like, damn, it's pretty good. But that's Sea Lance with The Undying Flame. Dope artwork, man. Really, really dope artwork. I went through this before. Tons of great features. There's a few features on, or a few songs on here. I feel like they're an interesting combo, which I found off-putting at first, but then I realized how much it's actually pretty cool. Like Evidence and Big Twins. I don't know if they've ever done a track together besides this one, but Leap of Faith is a dope track on here. Of course, this is all produced by Sea Lance, the producer. But, if you're unfamiliar, they got Crime Apple and Vinny Paz on here, which is pretty cool combo. Smooth and Huss Kingpin makes sense because they used to have a group called The Connection. I don't know whatever happened to them doing group albums, but yeah, they put out a couple of those albums, which were really cool. So it's cool to see them doing Track Skim, which they have been. Black Poet and Reef the Lost Cause and stuff. Sick Jacket and Mad Child. That's a cool track right there. But yeah, it's kind of all over the place. The range of MCs on here, there's even a couple on here I'm not even too sure about. But really, like, the beats are dope on here. Everyone kind of fits it. There's a really random interlude by Stoop on here, which I thought was really interesting. But I highly liked it. I really like this. I'm a big fan of, my favorite type of albums are one producer, one MC albums, and I love producer albums who just have MCs all over their beats. So essentially, it's kind of like half that, same beat or same producer all over. It's that cohesiveness I really like. But yeah, this is cool. Cool producer album. So that's number 19. Coming in number 18, got to go back down to the vinyl here, is Phife Dawg Forever, man. Phife, of course, being from Tribe Called Quest, my favorite group of all time. I really like this album, man. I didn't know what to expect because I assume that it was mostly going to be like a copy and paste type deal, and it was just going to be, like some of the, some post-human albums could be pretty bad. But this album, for the most part, I think was mostly completed because Phife is on here talking about the artists that are featured on his songs. He's doing ad-libs. Like you can tell there's a few things that are in here that were put in after and stuff. But I think for the most part, see, he was kind of recording this in secrecy, kind of like the latest Tribe album too. I don't think a lot of people knew this was going on. So he did do a lot of the work on here, which is really nice to hear. And it really shows in the final product and stuff, like Nutshell 2, Jay Dilla. Love that track. I'm not sure if this, like, obviously the beat is couldn't be from Living Dilla, but I'm not sure how they did that. I'm sure it's cut because there's a part 1 of that was older. I think maybe he died while they were doing Nutshell Part 2. I can't remember the story with this. Somebody fill me in on that. But yeah, really, really dope. Only a Coward, man. Ninth Wonder beat. Cool to see Ninth Wonder doing some dope beats again. Good album though. Really, really good vibe. Rest in peace to Phife, man. He sounded so good and healthy on this, and then he was just gone, man. It's brutal. But love me some Phife. All right, so this album right here, I wasn't expecting to like this as much as it turned out, even though I'm a huge fan of all these guys. And for some odd reason, I just felt like it was going to be, I don't know, I just didn't hear anything about it. I was just kind of off. It just kind of caught me off guard, I think is what it was. And that is the LMD record. So this is all produced by Madlib, and the LMD stands for Elemento, Med, and Declaim. So these guys have all worked together over and over again. Madlib and Declaim have so much material together. Of course, Madlib and Med have done stuff together over the years. Tons and tons of stuff. Elemento is in the mix there. So, with that said, I was like, shit, man, this is going to be, should be good. Should be good. First listen, I was like, okay. Then I got into it, and I was like, man, Madlib's beats are fucking just off the hook here, man. And everyone's dope, man. Declaim's so dope. Med, Elemento, say what you will, I love him. I think he's got a dope style. I think his flow is really cool. I like it, man. It's kind of like a choppy, blocky flow that works. We got J-Rock on here, man. DJ Roms doing cuts and stuff like that, but it's got a great vibe. It's short, to the point, but dope. Really, really highly recommend this. It's really good. For all you Madlib heads out there, I'm sure if you're watching this video, you're probably like me and love pretty much everything Madlib does because the guy can never seem to do any wrong. This is a good project, and I didn't hear anyone talk about this year. I was surprised. I was looking at a few lists and stuff, and actually a lot of the albums on my list weren't really mentioned too much this year. It's weird. But I'm sure there are. I didn't watch, I don't know everything. All right, so getting into number 16, which again, man, I've always been a big fan of this producer from his days with the Away team, and I don't understand why he doesn't get why the Away team doesn't get talked about more. That was a dope group, man, and I'm talking about Crisis. So Crisis is the producer from the Away team, and he puts out this one. I mean, he's been producing for people for years, but he put out this producer album called The Hour of Crisis, and it's really good, man. I'm telling you, man, like the De La Soul track on here is so fucking banging. Del sounds amazing on here. Evidence on here. But the song with Chi Ali, man, The Code. Oh, dude. Chi Ali just ruins that track, man. Like, in a good way. It's good to hear Chi Ali, like, back doing shit, but sounding fresh and hungry and good. And, like, man, age ain't nothing but a number, right? Is that what it is? Or is that the Aaliyah song? No, he had a song called Age Ain't Nothing But a Number 2, right? Or Nothing But a Number. Or something like that. Off his first album. But yeah, Chi Ali, of course, spent a lot of time in prison and stuff. And he's out here just fucking eating the mic up, dude, man. But I love the track with De La Soul. It's really dope. And Gucci Suede from Camp Low. Oh, dude. Good features on here. Really, really dope beats. Crisis just knocks this shit out the park. Good album. Really good album. All right, so getting to top 15. Number 15 is an album I listened to. This is actually kind of funny. So I got this album the day I needed to like wrap all my Christmas presents, man. I'm in this room, I'm on the floor, I've got the mixer playing and shit. I put the album in, and I wrapped my presents for like, I think 2.5 hours. It took me so long. And this album played over like, I think it's like just over 30 minutes, so it played like 6 or 7 times. It was ridiculous. And that's Apathy's, what is it called again? King of Gods, No Seconds. Yeah. Yeah. I always forget the title of this album. I don't know why that doesn't stick. King of Gods, No Second. Yeah. So Apathy, brand new album, all produced by Stu Bangas, which, you know, I mean, Stu Bangas is one busy motherfucker. That guy produces so many albums that are quality. It's incredible what he does, man. Like I talked about his project with Drez recently, and just go on and on and on and on and on. But yeah, no, this is good, man. Apathy sounds really hungry. His last album, I was a little bit let down by it. I feel like he was a little bit distracted by, you know, being a realtor and having a job and having a real life. That's fine. You know, that's what it is. Life's life. This album, I felt really focused. Again, one producer, one MC, close guy, do your shit. Pharoah Monch, Jadakiss, Sick Jackin', Black Thought, Esoteric, Self-Titled, RJ Payne. For the features. Are you fucking kidding me? It's amazing. Pharoah Monch's verse on Male Dictation is amazing. It's so good, man. Self-Titled is great as usual. Black Thought is amazing on this. Sick Jackin' just sounds so good on Stu Bangas beats, man. I wish you'd do something with Stu Bangas a little bit more. Overall, great album. Love the Stu Bangas beats on here. He definitely laced the shit out of this one, man. It's a really good project. So if you're a fan of Apathy and Stu Bangas, you can't go wrong with this. You really can't. And I think it was an interesting choice of doing it with this yellow case. Pretty cool, man. You know, it's interesting. It kind of gives it that horror feel to it. It's interesting. Yeah, so number 14, where am I? In at number 14 is, I think I fucked this up. Yeah, number 14 is an album that I was expecting big things from because I really like the third one. I'm a fan. You know, I'm really starting to like fucking Benny. Tenny Talk 4. Did I say Tenny? Tana Talk 4. I'm starting to like really like Benny a lot more because he is branching out on his content and his themes and stuff. He's not just doing coke raps every single fucking song. And he really does show it on this album. I mean, of course he has that talk on here, but he definitely laces the album with some different themes and stuff, which is pretty cool. Production-wise, is all held by Derringer and The Alchemist, which they must play off each other because the beats are so damn cohesive on this. Like, there's times where I'm like, is that Derringer? Is that The Alchemist? Which is insane, right? It's just crazy, like, how Alchemist is such a unique producer. Derringer's so dope. Yeah, really, really good, man. So 2 producer, 1 MC album. Good shit. You know, if you're a fan of Benny, you're really gonna like this one. It's really good. The Tyson vs. Ali track is really dope, man. With Conway, it's really good. 38 Special you got on here. Boldy James, who just got into a car accident actually. So yeah, hopefully he gets better soon. I'm not sure what the extent of it was. I think he had a broken bone in his back or something, which sucks. Yeah, so good album. Really, really good. Where are we? That was number 14. Number 13 is, yeah, so another producer that had a really big year. Put out like 6 or 7 projects. He actually put out 2 with this guy. I didn't get the other one, which I really liked that album too, and it may have made it onto this list too. I thought it was really dope. And that is Thrust OG and Bo Fat Beats, or just Thrust for the people that know him as Thrust, Canadian MC, Bo Fat Beats. This, like I said before, this kind of plays out more like a group album in a sense. There's so many features on here that it feels like that, but you know, you got Danku on here, which Bo Fat Beats did a record with him, which I showed off earlier, or in my last update and stuff. That was a good album. He did 2 with Thrust. He did 1 with Demko. He did like a couple other projects. Like, fuck, man, he's busy, man. Like full length albums that are like, you know, 40 to 50 minutes long. It's just crazy how much work these guys are putting in. This is good though. It's meant to be a throwback to 1994, so it has that 1994 boom bap aesthetic to it, and it does feel like that. It does feel like, I don't think it captures it 100%. It's like 90. There's times where you can kind of feel like maybe the digitalness of it. It's not as gritty. Doesn't have that, you know, kind of SB12 dirtiness. Fully, maybe it's probably because this is probably not recorded on tape too. I think if you wanted to grab that complete feel, you got to put it on tape. A little bit more expensive though. But yeah, good album, man. I'm a big fan of Thrust. I'm so happy that Thrust is making records again. It's been forever. It's got the Jays hat on, where I'm rocking the Jays hat right now. So yeah, good shit. Love that album. Like It's 1994. All right, coming in number 12 was actually higher on my list to start, and then, you know, working these lists, man, working these lists. Number 12 is, I think this one came out after Time from, yeah, this is one of those late digital albums from last year that came out physically in 2022. So it's, for me, it's 2022. It's probably for you guys 2021 for most people that don't do lists like me. And that is, of course, Droog's Spacebar. Another themed out kind of spacey alcoholic venture into pure insanity. Yeah, White Russian on here is just amazing, man. I absolutely love this record. It's got such a unique feel to it. And it's like, it's weird too, because Droog either is like producing his albums in full or someone else is. This album right here, there's 13 songs. There's the features from, you got a couple God Fahim ones on here, which makes sense. But there is a lot of, there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 10 different producers on here on 13 tracks, including, you know, Eloquent from Canada, Nicholas Craven, we got 88 Keys on here, Argov, of course, Preservation. And it's really interesting how it sounds cohesive. And that, again, you know, a lot of times when you have that many producers, you're going to have some offbeatness. But Droog's lyrics and his, you know, he does, I feel like he gets off topic a little bit here. And there is times where he doesn't sound as cohesive in the narrative as he does on Time. I still think it's really good. It's a really great project by Droog, and I hope he drops full length albums in 2023 like this, because he just dropped so many EPs in 2022. It's ridiculous. But good stuff, man. Yeah, it's Droog. It's Droog. If you're a fan of Droog, you're gonna love it. All right, so coming to number 11, and this honestly was a huge surprise to me, man, because yeah, we'll just get into this. So it's Nas and Hit Boy's Magic. Now, I think this one also came out in 2021 digitally, I want to say, and then physical came out this year, probably, yeah. So this one came out between King's Disease 2 and 3, right? Or, yeah. Now, King's Disease 1 I wasn't a huge fan of. 2 was a huge step up for me. I think I like the third one the most. But this one right here, it's like an offshoot. They got some kind of weird, like level playing field going on with those King's Disease records. There's a theme to them. You know, that type of thing. This is like an offshoot, but it sounds so hungry. It's like a different Nos on here, man. It's just crazy. Like Wave Gods with Primo, man. Fuck, like Speechless, Meet Joe Black, Ugly. Like there's so many amazing tracks on here. I just couldn't believe when this came out how different it sounded than the King's Disease records. And shit, man, I hope they do more stuff like this. Like, I'm not to put anything against, you know, the King's Disease records. I don't think any of them are horrible. The first one didn't really grab me, but I think they're getting better as they go. And this one just kind of plunked in the middle of two of them. And, oh, man, hungry shit, man. Really, really hungry. Good stuff by Nas. It's good to hear him doing records like that again. Fucking rights, man. Fucking rights. So that was Magic. In at number 11. That wasn't my top 10 for so long this year. Couple albums knocked it out that I got, well, I'd listened to, but it was just, you know, the repetitiveness of listening. So into the top 10. Now, this is an album that I had really high hopes for it, and it didn't disappoint to me because I'm a big fan of the label, Rhymesayers, and we've got Soul Messiah's God Complex here, producer record. You'll always notice a theme with me, one MC, one producer, or producer albums. This type of albums I like. This one's cool, man. Sat Rock is on like 7 tracks on here. 7 of like 13 or 14, whatever it is. But Rhyme Slayers, man, that track. Dude, Slug, A$AP Rock, Sat Rock. Dope shit. Planet Asia. Dope track, man. The beats are just so... They're soulful. They're boom bappy. They've got so much instrumentation. Fuck it. I can't talk right now. You know what? I forgot that I had a beer going here. So... Yeah, Skinny Beers. But great album overall. Really good vibe throughout the whole thing. And it doesn't feel like you're listening to a producer album in a sense because there's Sat Rock's on here so much. It almost feels like you're listening to her album with a bunch of features. It's weird. It's really strange, man. Because like the first track, God Complex, man, with King Crooked and Sat Rock. Like what a combination that shit is right there. Crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. Mirrors and Sat Rock, another cool duo right there. What's the other one that she does? Oh yeah, the song actually Locksmith and Stickman, amazing track. The Evidence track on here solo is really good too, but I highly recommend this. Really good stuff. That's the slipcover. That's the under right there. So yeah, good album. Somehow I'm keeping the glare down tonight. It seems like I usually have to say, "Hey, I apologize for the glare" like 300 fucking times. Ooh, my throat's getting a little bit dry. What are we? Oh, 30. Okay, I wanted to keep this under an hour, and I think I'm doing pretty good actually because we're in the top 10. So, all right. So in at number 9 is an album that, of course, I know the producer. We just talked about an album that this producer produced. But the MC I've known for a couple years. I've heard some tracks and stuff. I actually don't know anything about this guy. It's really strange. I guess I could probably read up on the Chopped Hearing page or whatever. But it's funny. I just don't really know a lot about him. That's Kenneth Masters and Bofat. A Life Less Ordinary. There's the glare. Yeah, so Bofat Beats, second project in my top 22. Kenneth Masters, really dope vibe on this record, man. It's different because if you listen to all the projects that Bofat Beats did this year, he's a very versatile producer, man. Like, he's got that throwback shit with Thrust from 94, but then he's got the newer wage stuff, and he really does change up his beats quite a bit on here, but it still sounds super cohesive. I love 85 Jordans on here. That track is amazing. Super fucking dope. There's a really cool posse track in here called Fly Ingwell, and it's got Doodlebug on it from Diggable Planets, Melee Sparks, and Speak Sampras on it, and it's really dope, man. But Kenneth Masters is like a different type of MC. He almost has he's almost like got a monotone flow, but there's something so soothing about him. It's very soulful. It's very smooth. It's very direct. It's very thematic too. It's like, I don't know. It just has this feel to it that it's got so much replay value to it. You always find yourself kind of finding something else as you listen to it. But pretty interesting album. For the part, if you really listen to it, I feel like it is a concept record, but good stuff. All right, so getting into number 8, and this is an album that, every time this cat puts out an album, I expect it to be in my top 10. I always have high expectations for this guy because I think he's, without question, he's not one of my favorite MCs of like modern, like last 20 years. I think he's one of the best too. And I don't like to get into best conversations because I hate those GOAT conversations. I hate best of lists. I hate those things, are stupid. But if I had to, argue who could be in a best of list for the last 20 years or whatever, it's this guy. He's so consistent, so amazing. And that's fucking LSI with Zeitgeist. Produced by Georgia Ann Muldrow, who is phenomenal as the beat maker on here. Great vocals. This is super soulful. It's very jazzy. It's boom bappy. LSI just kills this shit. Her vocals are so dope on here. It kind of has it has so many things going on in this record. It's like, I can't pinpoint and use enough adjectives to describe this the way I want to because it's such a different and unique feel to it. But man, LSI, like I said, from his days of with Slum Village, which a lot of people actually even consider his albums with Slum Village to be some of the better stuff, even though they weren't Dilla based. But we're talking MC wise and stuff, and I think LSI is probably the best guy ever to grace a mic in Slum Village. But yeah, really good stuff right here, man. Very interesting collaboration here. I don't know where this thing ever came from. I love the artwork on this. Very in depth. The lyrics are very. He penned this. He didn't pen this in a week. You know what I'm saying? He wrote this from the heart, and it's very in depth and shit. He probably did write it in a week. No one. I'm trying to give more credit, but anyways, yeah, Amnesia is crazy. The first track on this record's crazy because it's he raps for 3 minutes straight. There's really no chorus, nothing, and then it just kind of lets the beat play out. It's just awesome, dude, and it's got a cool concept to it. So LSI Zeitgeist, love it. Great album. All right, so here's one of 2 albums in my list that I didn't show in my roundup. So I got this one, and I was happy. It actually came in a couple days after I did that video, and I was happy it came in. It actually came in super fucking fast because I put off buying it because it was so expensive to get, and I was like, fuck, am I really gonna? It was a shipping, man. It was brutal. It was fucking nasty. But one of my favorites, just like LSI. This guy is one of my favorite MCs in the last 20 years. Everything he's put out has really, I love this dude, man. He's a regular on the Take It Personal podcast. I think he's actually the most, he's had the most guest appearances on that podcast, actually. And he did the coolest thing ever. So if you know who I'm talking about, but he was in the middle of an interview on Take It Personal and he was doing a show. He kept the phone on in his pocket, went out, rocked the stage, came back, and you could hear the whole thing. It's fucking awesome, man. And we're talking about Black Mayhem Loren with Black Vladimir. He actually explains the title of this, the album on Take It Personal. You guys check that out. It's really awesome. But I think he actually said he came up with the title before Putin went, before he was even in president. I can't remember. But oh man, all produced by Derringer, and I think the beats on here are better than the beats he gave for Benny in the same year. This is awesome, man. It's just all Derringer. It's fucking bangers. It's Mayhem Loren kicking the dopest rhymes over shit, man. Really good stuff. I love Mayhem Loren because he's like me. He's like a big ass kid. You know, he loves food and he loves cereal and he likes geeky shit and it's just funny how Mayhem Loren, we're so similar and chicken Chinese and Niagara and vegetables. I love that track. That's awesome. Raspberry Crest. He always has his food titles and stuff because he's really into food and he's always changing his diet all the time. He's an oddball, but it shows in his music and he's just such an amazing MC. I love this dude, man. I'm so happy that I decided to pick this up because otherwise it wouldn't have been on my list and it would have been a shame because I'm like, how do I not have one of my favorite albums on my list that would have been in my top 10? Shame. So that was number 7. Coming at number 6 is an album I've seen on multiple lists this year, very high, within the top 5, if not top 3, and a lot of number 1s of the year, which, it's explainable. I mean, this is my number 6, and that's the one producer, one MC album, Danger Mouse and Black Thought Cheat Codes. Yeah, Danger Mouse is an incredible producer from a hip hop standpoint, from a musical standpoint. This guy he does work with rock bands and very, very in-depth producer, so much talent. I wasn't sure what I was getting with this, man. I mean, my introduction with Danger Mouse was, of course, the Danger Doom album with MF Doom, and that production was crazy. It was just so unique, and then he'd done other stuff that I'd heard, and I'm like, man, it's so different. You never know. So I didn't really know what I was going to get with this. It turns out that I got something that was really cool. I love the way this album is arranged. The music is arranged in such a specific way. It's really dope. I love the track Cheat Codes on here. No Gold Teeth is amazing. The darkest part with Raekwon might be my favorite song on the album, to be honest. I really like the track Identical Deaths on here is really amazing too. Saltwater. Believes, of course, with Doom is really dope too. But yeah, the darkest part with Raekwon and Kid Sister is fucking dope, man. Great vibe. I mean, it's what you expect from Black Thought, good rhymes and shit like that. To be honest, I would have rather had less features because Conway's on here, A$AP Rocky, Run the Jewels, got Doom, Joey Badass, Raekwon. But I would have I want to hear a Black Thought album with one producer where there's no features. I want him doing 2-3 verses throughout it. I want him to lace a whole album. I just want to hear that, man, because sometimes having this many features takes away from the point of doing a one producer, one MC album. In my opinion, you don't have to agree. That's just my opinion. But yeah, Cheat Codes, dope record though. Got so much replay value this year. I was really loved it. Okay, so coming in number 5 is got to go back down to the vinyl here, and we've got DK and Ghetto Socks. Listen to the Masters. Ghetto Socks, of course, being part of Backburner. Here you go. DK, fucking boom bap produced. This is new boom bap at his best. It's just hard beats and rhymes. It's awesome, man. I love Ghetto Socks. He's got a great style to him. Features on here, man. You got a song with Skyzoo and Rome Streets. Dope track. The Masters with CL Smooth. Right. CL Smooth and Elda Sensei, of course, from the Artifacts. Amazing song. He's got Mocha Only and OC on a track on here, which is really dope too. Of course, he's got Tachichi, UFO Fev, Timbuktu, Tachichi, Ghetto Socks. That makes sense. They're all part of Backburner and shit like that. Really good vibe throughout this whole thing. So much replay value. If you're into this kind of just, rapidy boom bap shit, man, and with really good flavor, good personalities and stuff, this is what, this is a really good album, man. DK, Ghetto Socks. Can't recommend it enough. And I believe this one was also on Black Buffalo. So you can go get it at Black Buffalo if you're interested. So good shit. All right, so coming at number 4 needs no explanation. We got no expiration dates, which has got to be one of the most ironic titles in such a sad way. Artifacts and Buckwild. Good to see Buckwild back with the Artifacts. DITC Legend. Rest in peace to Tame One. But the title, no expiration date, man. Like, can you believe that title? And then Tame One passes away right after. It's just like, it's like poetic nonsense. It's just weird. I don't even know how to explain that. Like, how the fuck does that even happen? But this is a great album, man. They lace this shit so hard. The beats are so good. I think this is some of Buckwild's best stuff that he's done. He's put out a few albums recently, last couple years, but I think this is the best work he's done. Accompanied by so much good cuts by Eclipse, DJ Eclipse on here, DJ Huss. Yeah, like there's so much good scratching, so much beats and rhymes on here. It's just a great album. This is kind of what you wanted to hear from the Artifacts. One producer, one group type thing, and it really does come across as being such a great album. It's just such a shame, man. Put out by Smoke On Records. It's just crazy that like even an American label couldn't put out like a new Artifacts record. I don't like how the fuck this happens, but all the good stuff is coming from Europe, it seems. Artifacts, Buckwild, no expiration date. Yeah, Facts, man. That track is just real rap. Fucking dope. Contagious. So dope. So many good tracks on here, man. Love it. Great album. Rest in peace to Tame One once again. Coming in number 3 is another album that I guess was probably on a lot of people's list last year. If you guys watched my last year's list with Jay, I believe he had this one on there, but I didn't because it hadn't come out physically yet, but he does his list different than me. And that's Droog's Time. So Droog's on this list twice again. This album is just, it's actually incredible. It's like, honestly, I love the radio spots because he did that before on one of his earlier records. You know, he had the radio DJ. And, yeah, so again, you know, like beat-wise on here. So we got Budgie on here. You got, what do we got? 4, 5, 8 different producers. Of course, Edon's on here. Budgie, Cool Chris, 88 Keys, Manuel in stereo, Argoff. I don't know how they managed, like, he's got a good ear. Everything sounds very cohesive. Please Listen to My Jew Tape is, like, one of the greatest tracks, man. Dropout Boogie, produced by Edon, featuring MF Doom, is amazing. Field of Dreams with A$AP Rock and LSI. We got Blue on here. Hip Hop Lullaby is amazing. But this, like, the concept in this record is really dope. It's really in depth. The concepts are there. I feel like he executes them a lot better than Spacebar, but I could be wrong about Space. I don't know. But yeah, So High is really dope. What's the track? You're So Sick, man. Every time I hear that song, man, it's just so filthy. It's funny because Drew doesn't necessarily rap like that all the time, and like it's just some of the things he's saying are just filthy. It's filthy. It's ridiculous. Yeah, Time. Love that album. Love it. Great fucking album. Coming to number 2, it's the other one that I did not show. I just got this in too. My homeboy Shallow from Canada here, part of so many groups. You know, one of his best friends is Marco Polo. I know, like he does the cuts on Polo's records. He mixes and masters, and him and Polo are like best friends. You know, of course, Marco Polo being from Canada originally. Shiloh's still up here in the East Coast. I think he's in Toronto. I don't know. But we got Dookie Brothers, When the Shit Hits the Fan. Yes, that sounds a little bit gimmicky. So the Dookie Brothers is made up of Franchise and Shy the Beat Yoda, which he goes by now instead of Shiloh. They're family. So Franchise is Shy's brother-in-law. And they knock this shit out the park. And there's a really fucking great track on Family Matter where he literally raps, like, I don't know how many bars is. I wonder, like, I think it's like 38 or 40 bars or some shit like that straight. He just hammers this out the park and he just gives it to him raw about, you know, sleeping with his sister and shit. It's just fucking hilarious, man. But it's just raw. But man, amazing beats. So many dope cuts on here, which Shy is he's a great DJ. He's great at cutting up wax, man. Great samples and shit like that. But like some of the tracks, like the Shitro, we got True North Shit on here. We got the Dookie Motherfuckers, which is dope, man. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious dope shit. Didn't nail it. Can never say it properly. Hard Shit, True North Shit remix. Like, it's amazing. like I said, it sounds gimmicky, but it's not. It's straight hard boom bap, like hard and like dope rhymes and shit. And their chemistry is undeniable. It's really good, man. So yeah, so I got Shy to sign it with his brother-in-law franchise. So yeah, pretty cool stuff, man. If you want to copy this, hit up Shy on Instagram, PM him, and he'll hook you up because it's definitely worth your time. It's fucking awesome. Really, really good stuff. And coming in at number 1 is an album that I also have on vinyl. And it become one of my favorite groups the last few years, man. Like, I just love this guy. Love this group so much. And, okay, my dog is knocking over records down here. What are you doing, buddy? And that is, of course, Pseudo Intellectuals with Property Rights. Dude, this album is so cool, man. I love the way they flip famous samples and make it their own thing, like Bufftown and shit like that. And this whole album just has such a unique feel to it. I've never heard an album like this that is playing off of like classic shit, but not doing it in a cover way, but making it their own thing and just kind of elevating everything and putting it into like one cohesiveness, you know, like Magic Number and shit like that. You Can't Stop the Prophet and shit like it. It's not them covering. These are more like interlude, like they kind of fit and they kind of blend into the whole product of what they're doing here. It's really amazing. I mean, they had 2 albums in my top 10 last year, you know, and like this year they're topping it out. Super dope shit, man. Great lyricism, great vibes, super mellow. It's like, it's one of those records you just want to, when it ends, you just want to flip it back over. You know, it's really good shit. So can't recommend it enough. Chopped Hearing again, dropping this shit again. European stuff from the UK. But yeah. So that's going to be the top 22 right there. I do have a couple honorable mentions I just have sitting out here. I don't know if this is all of them, but I did want to mention Vinny's album. I think Vinny's album is good, but you know, it's funny because his albums have they're not as good as they started out to be. You know what I mean? He's never put out a bad album. This is a good album. It's a really good album. In fact, I listen to this a lot. You know, the production's really, really good on here. It's long. It's Vinny. It's fucking Vinny. I wanted to note the Mad Child and Obnoxious album, Mobsters and Monsters. This is good, man. It's really good. It's just hard beats over them just ripping rhymes and shit, man. The song with Sick Jackin' on here is really good. Good vibe, short. It runs over 30 minutes, so it could have been eligible. Mathematic with No Division 2. This is another great Canadian album. Of course, Mathematics is down to earth, and you know, he's classic, man. Like this, he's so good on here. Some of the beats aren't the greatest, but him lyrically is just outstanding. He's outstanding on it. It's like doing this shit like 25 years later, still really good. Had to give it up to Onyx. This was in my list forever, and it got bumped out, but I love the new Onyx record. It's got that great throwback 1993 sound, which is the concept of the record, done by, I think, a European producer. I think he's from Amsterdam, somewhere around there. Netherlands, somewhere. Yeah, kind of makes sense, man. There's a lot of fucking old school boom bap producers from the Netherlands, man. Like, yeah, Blabbermouth and his whole crew and shit like that. Yeah, this is really good. Really enjoyed that. I got to give it up to Pusha T's album. It's Almost Dry. This was good, man. I actually was listening to this the other night again, and it's really dope. I just, you know, if I was doing a top 25, these would have been in there kind of thing. Good records. Pusha T's never put out anything I didn't like. And, of course, the new Cypress Hill album, which when Cypress Hill puts out an album, I'm just like, I don't know what to expect from it. But I really like how they conceived this record. They made Sendog the lead on this, so it starts out with Sendog, and Sendog takes number one. He takes, you know, he's the lead step in this record, and B-Roll took the back step, which was, you know, was a cool concept, and it really showed, like, Sendog finally has his, you know, his, basically he was never comfortable rapping, is what he said in an interview, forever. That's kind of why he would do a verse here and there and stuff, ad libs and rock the stage and be the presence, kind of like the Flavor Flav of Public Enemy. But then he just felt like he gained the confidence and he wanted to do this, and this is the result. I don't like the album title Back in Black. I don't really like that at all, but I think it's a good, solid album. You know, one of the better offerings that they've had. Elephants on Acid was really dope, though. That was really good. But that is gonna do it for top 22 of 2022. I thought I had something else, but I don't think I do. I think that is everything I have. And yes, it's under an hour. Wow. Okay. I was really hoping it wasn't going to go too long, but yeah, this is awesome. So, all right. So that's it. Let me, drop your top 10s down. You don't have to do a top 22. Let me know what you thought of the list of what my favorites were. Drop your top 10 list down below. Anything else, shit that I forgot or fucked up on, probably. You can't talk about too much of each album because this will just go on for like 2 hours. So, but yeah. Anyways, guys, I will be back with the shelf by shelf. I've been asked so many times recently, and yes, it's coming back. I wanted to get this out of the way. And yeah, so those will be coming back. So be on the lookout for those. And I will see you guys then. Deuces.